Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me for the latest episode of News for Nerds. We are live today, or recorded for the latest in market stats. It is the middle of August right now, and we are looking back on the latest data that's come through for July. And I really appreciate some of the feedback I've gotten recently and heard that all this stuff has been very interesting over the past few months, but maybe a little long. So I'm going to do my best today to really cut this down, really just do the highlights and nothing else. Talk a little bit more about the market in general. And as always, I appreciate your comments. If you like this new format, a little bit shorter, a little bit sweeter, please let me know if it's not long enough for you, if I'm not hitting all the points that you like. Also, let me know in the comments. And all of this data, if you want it in your inbox or you want to take a look at it yourself, you can let me know. I can send it to you directly. Happy to do that for absolutely nothing at all. And my prop today, although I'm not sponsored by LaCroix, I probably should be because I drink about 10 of these a day. So if anyone out there from that company is taking a look, you can check out my massive subscriber list and maybe send me a case, right? So anyway, hit that, mash that subscribe button so you can stay up to date every time I post one of these. I appreciate each and every one of you. Let me get started on our market stats and news for nerds for this month. All right, so the best question you can receive as a realtor, and you hear it all the time, how is the market? Well, my answer is usually the same. It's where are you looking? Because it really, really depends. Like this market is hyper local. Some of the trends we're seeing around the country, if you look at things like this in the headlines, really talking about America as a whole. And as you can see, a lot of the news lately is that there are a lot more homes on the market recently. If I can move my head here, basically since the beginning of this year or late 2024, there's been a lot more homes on the market, a lot more homes staying on the market, not getting absorbed. And there are about 500,000 more sellers out there than buyers. So you might be wondering, especially if you're in the market here in like Hudson County or Bergen County, like where's all the inventory? That is a great question. And that's why we get super local and specific here when we talk about each one of these. So again, I'm just going to hit the highlights here, starting off with July market action. All right, let's kick it off with Hoboken and see what the latest market data is. Highlights only here, people. So single family houses, $3 to $4 million for a single family house is now like the new common thing. It is a thing now. Obviously, a small pool of buyers for those, but that's what they're going for. There's not a lot of listings that come on here in the past year. When they do, they get sucked up pretty quick. Hoboken setting the trend right now for where most people want to be, especially those New York City transplants that have jobs in the city that want to keep that easy commute. And the number of sales are down in July, but the inventory remains so tight that prices are still appreciating. You can see that in that lower category there for condos, median sales price up 4.5%. Moving on to downtown Jersey City. So condos here are actually starting to reflect some of the market changes. One of the big highlights I see here is 99% of asking price this last month compared to last year, going down 1%. Doesn't seem like a lot. Houses going down 2%. Well, that's actually really big news because a lot of listing agents will actually switch the price before reporting the closing to the contract price, even if it was listed for higher. So this number is actually even skewed even more. So the swing in that percent of asking price is actually a bit bigger than the 1% reflected here. So people are getting a little bit of negotiating power as buyers in downtown Jersey City. So if you're looking, you haven't found the right place yet, stay in it because now is the time. All right, Weehawken. Bulk of condos are actually trading at a premium compared to last year. You can see in the data here. There are more listings while the number of sales really remains the same. The waterfront really has a vibe now. There's a building, I can't remember which one, but their motto is the civilized commute, and it's actually resonating with a lot of people. that terminal right there by the ferry, all those newer buildings on Avenue Port Imperial, the new building that's going up just north of Avenue Port Imperial, which should be completed next year. Vista Point's coming to town right in front of 9 on the Hudson. There's lots of stuff going on there. So the quality of restaurants and cafes and neighborhood life, especially on the waterfront in Weehawken, is contributing to that vibe. You can see here on this graph at the bottom, the blue line, pretty steady, but going up, obviously trending upwards from 2024 to 2025. West New York, we're going to hit this real quick. The highlight is, basically just another great option for people that want to stay in Hudson County and maybe priced out of the more pricey zip codes. Steady condo market appreciation over the past 5 years. You can see on this blue line here. Good investment opportunity. Union City, huge increase in the number of active listings across the board. Number of sales have remained even, but the median sales price is up 12.5%. So the new condos up there, the new developments, they are having like 2 and 3 families, especially, that we started to see a lot in the Heights starting about 8 years ago that you see there. We call them Bayonne boxes sometimes. Kind of feels like the new Heights. A lot of buyers that are getting priced out of the Heights are moving over to Union City and finding great value there. Generally, those 3-bedroom new condos in like a 2-family building are a bit more affordable. And then especially if you compare the tax rate to Jersey City as a whole, and especially for new development, much more attractive. So in Union City, the overall, I think they call it not the effective tax rate, but the general tax rate is 1.85 compared to 2.23 in Jersey City. So when you're talking about $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 new condo, where they basically just take the closing price and plug it right in with that tax rate, and that's immediately what you're going to start paying. A lot more affordable, especially from a yearly and monthly standpoint with those taxes. And also you see quite a big increase. I think this median sales price had a big bump also because there were about 4 new condos that recently sold in Union City in that like $1.3, $1.4 million range, which is pretty big for Union City. All right, Bayonne, kind of the last place I'm going to hit here. Big news here. I've been talking about it off and on for the past year. I really like Bayonne. I think it's set for modernization. If you've been around there, you can kind of feel older, whatever hyperbole you want to put on it or adjective, all very accurate. But Bayonne just got approved for new high-rise buildings. They received funding for a new ferry station. So both of those things are going to bring a lot of new rental high-rises, young blood to that area, which is great for residents. It will actually fuel a more robust condo market in the years to come, because as you bring new people there, they get used to the area. The infrastructure gets nicer, so you get new restaurants, new cafes. They want to support all this new commerce. So things obviously get better for that reason. So you get new people in there, all that stuff improves. So as a long play or medium-term play, I still really like Bayonne. And there's a ton of opportunity. Developers, where are you at? The people who are building those Bayonne boxes in the Heights and Union City, there's a lot of opportunity in Bayonne. I mean, there's a huge amount of older houses that are single family, 2-family, but they have the correct lot size to do those developments that we've been seeing for the past couple of years in the Heights and Union City. So I'm seeing huge opportunities there for condo buyers, investors, as well as developers. So that is my take on the hyperlocal market here in Hudson County. Those are the highlights I'm seeing. If you want to log off now, I don't blame you. If this is what you're here for, again, let me know if you like this kind of streamlined approach, and if you want any of this stuff in your inbox, happy to share it. For everyone else, I'm going to move on to some of the other things. Fall is coming, and fall is a seasonable market improvement. We generally see, especially in this area, the summertime, a lot of people traveling, people take buying and selling a little less seriously. So seasonably, we see a little bit of a slump in activity in general on both sides of the market. But spring and fall definitely have a boost. Fall is right around the corner. So if you are a seller, there are definitely some things here to start getting ready, some advantages to using Compass, if I can bump that, as far as our three-phase marketing strategy. If you don't know about that, ask me about it. Happy to talk to you about it. It's a great opportunity that really doesn't have a lot of downside about testing prices, maybe putting your home on the market when you're not quite ready and not accumulating the negative things like days on market and stuff that might overall generally negatively impact the value of your house or the potential sale price for it. So if you're curious about that, I'm here. Ask me about it. Home buyer search terms on the internet in Google and search engines is actually reaching a 2-year high. So what this means to me is that there are a lot of people who've just been kind of stuck renting or stuck in their current home that they own and getting ready for all of the recent news about hopefully mortgage prices coming down. Actually, mortgage rates are at a low for this year. The data that I read this morning is your average 30-year fix is at 6.58. So if you're a buyer right now and you've been in the market and you have your pre-approval or you're about to get your pre-approval, now might be a really, really opportune time to start making offers on houses before a bulk or a bunch more buyers jump back into the market, because right now is when you're going to have the most opportunity to find a place with less competition and maybe negotiate the price a little bit, especially in these areas that have a lot less absorption and a lot more houses that stay on the market month to month and are accumulating some days on market. And opportunities there all around. If you don't know about this yet, it went into effect last month in July. There's a new mansion tax charge. Basically all of the mansion tax burden has been transferred from the buyer to the seller, and this is just a law, and it's a kick in the balls for a lot of people. Not only is it transferred to the seller, but it's tiered now. So it used to just be 1% flat for anything that sold over $1 million. Now it's tiered where if you go up over 2 million, it's 2%, 2.5 million, 2.2%, 2.5, 3 million, 3%. You're getting the picture here. So again, kind of sucks to be a seller. Really no way around this. But if you're a buyer, this could make things more affordable, at least on the surface. A lot of sellers are going to bake this into their asking price and will be justified in doing so in markets where mansions, so to speak, or $1 million plus properties are really in demand, where you don't really have to negotiate this kind of stuff. But we will see in the coming months how this really kind of shakes out across different zip codes, and where this increase in fee is really going to be made up for, because I like to say there's no such thing as a free lunch. Like, someone's going to be paying for it. And on the surface, it looks like a lot of sellers are going to be doing this across New Jersey. But again, this is why we focus on hyper-local market stats. So if you're in a place like Hoboken, where like 1 or 2 of these are dropping every month and there's a lot of competition for them, sellers are probably just going to bake this into the price and make up for it somehow on the selling end with a higher increase in price. We have a new newsletter called The Bricks coming out exclusively from me and my colleagues that are part of the story team in Hoboken. Getting a lot of good feedback on this, really kind of specific to Hoboken and this New York City adjacent area. So if you are not on my mailing list and you'd like to receive this, I send it out once a month. Very curated, very specific for this area, and a lot of cool stuff on there. So as always, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And I look forward to talking to you and seeing you next time. Take care, everybody.